Hey guys, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel our game could do with some sound. So if you look, it's got some music, but I'm thinking of a different type of sound. I'm thinking of some boings and some crashes and stuff. Now you're welcome to record these sounds yourself. Use any program that you can use, like Audacity would be one, or Sound Recorder, or whatever you can get your hands on. If you look in the course assets, which is a lecture at the beginning of the section, you will find that we have given you a download. Let me show you what it looks like. If I go to my folder, which is here, Block Breaker Assets v3 is the one I'm going to be using, .zip, and if you expand that under sounds, you'll have already found the background noise. You've got boing and crack. Now these are my daughter doing boing and crack, and they're quite funny, so I'm going to use those. You can replace them with whatever you like. They don't have to be .ogg format, they can be .mp3 or any other format that you find that Unity supports. So drag them into your sounds folder so that Unity has at least got access to them. Let's make neither of them a 3D sound. You're going to have to do this one at a time. So click on the track, click into the inspector under 3D sound, turn it off because we're in a 2D game, and then click apply, and it may take a second just to process that. So all of our sound clips now are non-3D. Cool, they're the only settings we need to think about. So what we're going to be doing in this lecture is we're going to use audio.play to play the boing sound. And then we're going to talk about why a different method called audio source play clip at point is useful. And then we're going to use that one for playing the crack sound. And then we're going to demonstrate and test and stuff. Cool, so let's start with the simple one, the ball. The ball just needs to say boing every single time it hit something. So where have you played music before? You've played music in the music player before, but we actually didn't do anything in script if you look in here. If you look at the music player, yes, it's a music player, but the only reason it plays music is because if you look at the object in the game scene, which is only on your start scene, then it plays on awake. So it's only playing, repeating, looping music on the basis that it's playing on awake. I actually haven't got it on loop at the moment. If you find your music runs out too soon, you're welcome to put it on loop. So that's one way to play sounds, but on awake is only appropriate for something like background music. We're actually going to need to play music or sound even from script programmatically. So let's start with a simple one, which is the ball. Click on the ball in the prefabs, and what you need to be doing here is adding a component. And that component is a audio source. So take a look at that. Fantastic. We do not want to play on awake in this case. We don't want the ball to make a boing sound when the game starts. But we do need to attach the audio clip to it. So you can click on this little circle next to the audio clip. Choose boing. It says it's a 2D sound. If it doesn't, then you go to your clip to change it. That's fine. And that all looks okay for now. That's great. So at the moment, if you played, nothing will happen. Because the final bit is we need to go into the ball script and we need to say audio.play. And you could test it just by putting it in here, audio.play. It's a good idea to break all problems down into smaller problems like this. So just check this plays on start. Let's try that with any of the scenes that have a ball in them. Boing. There she goes, good old Lucy. So that works, but we don't want it here. We want it only to happen on collision, or is it on trigger? So this is what you've got to work out. What I want you to do now is as a challenge, I want you to work out whether you need to be putting this on in the on collision enter or in the on trigger enter 2D method. Write the method signature into ball.cs and then use the play audio in the appropriate method. So just go ahead, look at the Unity's docs about collisions if you need to, and decide whether these are collisions or triggers when the ball hits both the bricks and the wall. Hey, welcome back. So, is it a collision or is it a trigger? Have you decided? Well, let's take a look back at the slide that we had about collisions that we showed you. The ball is a physics object, and it's moving, and it's not a trigger, so it's a rigid body collider. And when it hits the walls, it's hitting a static collider, and when it hits the bricks, it's hitting a static collider. So it's a collision we're dealing with. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So what we want to do is in the ball script, we want to write the method. Now be careful with your brackets. Look, click next to the curly bracket, and you'll see which one it relates to. You see that? So this one here is the closing brace of the update method. So I want to go under that, but not outside of the whole class description. Hopefully that makes sense. Just get used to the indentation. So void on collision, enter 2D. Don't miss your 2D. And what it's going to pass in is not a collider 2D, but a collision 2D, because it's a collision. I'm going to call it collision. That's fine. Now, none of that matters. It's just that you need to be in this method for it to trigger at the right time. And what you want to say is what we did before, audio.play. Like so. Let's try it.
Boing. Boing, 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 boing.
Sort of working. Couple of issues. Firstly, it went boing right at the very beginning. Why does it go boing right at the beginning?
Boing.
Well, because we haven't told it not to when it collides, when the ball starts off colliding with the paddle. You see. So what we want to do here is we want to guard against that by saying only do this if the game has started. So here's a simple mini challenge. I won't even put a slide up for you. I want you to put an if statement around this audio.play that simply says if the game has started. Use the instance variable we have up here, has started. Cool. Okay, hopefully you've got that it's pretty much as simple as this. If has started, then audio.play, otherwise do nothing. Now let's try it. No boing on start, that's good. But if you watch this bit carefully, you'll notice the boing sound is only happening if the brick isn't destroyed. So in cases where the brick's destroyed, the boing sound is not coming out. So why is that? Well, it's simply because the brick is being destroyed before it has a chance to make the boing sound. If you're taking this part of the course in Unity 5 and following the compiler's suggestions to change your code, you might find slightly different behavior, in which case you'll need to work around that. But I do recommend you stay with Unity 4.6 for this section. Remember, we're going to get to Unity 5 when we need to, which is in Bowlmaster. Cool, so let's move straight on now and recap the beginning of the lecture where we said we're going to use audio source.playClipAtPoint for the crack sound. Why? What's all that about? Well, it's because of exactly this problem. We're going to have the brick make the crack sound, because ultimately it's the brick that makes the sound, but when the brick is destroyed, it can no longer play the sound. And that's a problem. So how are we going to deal with that? Well, there's a great tool called playClipAtPoint. You have to pass the audio clip into the brick in order to do this. So let's start off by publicly exposing an audio clip over here in the brick. And I'm going to do that above the sprite. Public. And you'll see how it works in a minute. For now, let's just get the audio clip in. Audio clip. I'm going to call it crack, actually. Just crack sound. There you go. Perfect. Now, when do you want to play this crack sound? Well, firstly, go attach it. Go into Unity. Get to your brick prefab. You're going to actually need to do this for all of your bricks. And look, they're asking for crack sound. So select all of your bricks together with a multi-select holding down to Control or Command. Go to your sounds, find your crack and stick it in. So at this point, I'd like to clarify that the crack sound is just the sound my daughter made, and it's not really a crack sound. It's a sound of the brick being hit. So I want this sound to play every single time the brick is hit. So can cause a little bit of confusion for people, so I'm inserting this to explain to you that crack is being used every time the brick is hit and every time it takes damage, not just for when it's finally destroyed in my case. You could, of course, as a challenge to yourself towards the end of this section, arrange for a different sound when the brick is destroyed, but I will leave that to you. Okay, cool. So we have the crack sound built in there now. When do we want to make that sound? Well, we make the sound when we hit the brick. So down here we have on collision enter 2D. We say if it's breakable, then handle the hits. But when do we play the audio? Well, actually we always play the audio. So if we just went audio.play and attached the audio source, it would not work, because what would happen is the audio may start playing, but the moment the level manager notices that, the moment the brick is destroyed rather, the audio will stop playing. Okay, as soon as it's destroyed down here, it would stop playing. No good. We don't want that. So what we want to do is use this cool method, which is audio source, down here somewhere in our list, dot play clip at point. You'll see what that does in a minute by example. crack, which we just brought in, and we're going to play it at, just for simplicity, transform.position, which is the position of the brick. Now, look, you have to see this to understand how it works. I've got my game window right next to my scene, so you can watch this happening. See, let's see what happens. Now, what I want you to do is look, next time I play this, at the left-hand window, the scene window, and watch for the little icons, the little gizmos. If you can't see them, turn up the size of your 3D gizmos, like this. Make sure your 3D gizmos are big enough, and watch them in the left-hand window as the ball bounces around. You see what happened there? Every time it bounced, an audio clip was spawned where the brick was, and the brick is allowed to disappear. That is the sensible way to do it. You do not want to delay the disappearance of the brick. That would be weird. If the brick is destroyed while the audio clip is playing, the audio clip will stop playing. This allows us to say, hang on, the brick doesn't need to be there for sound to play. So we put an audio source where the brick was. Wicked. It's a really, really cool method. So that's audioclip.playClipAtSource. I'm just going to turn down my gizmo size a little bit because it's a bit rude as it is. And just a quick recap for us. We've done a really cool job. So we played the boing sound. We got some weird stuff going on where it didn't play when a brick's destroyed. Turned out to be pretty useful, actually, because we wanted to play a different clip when the brick is destroyed, which was the crack sound, and we used playClipAtPoint for that. We also left a comment in our code so that should this issue with the sound not playing here in the ball.cs ever come and bite us in the bottom, we have a comment that will remind us of the experience, and then we could dig into it in more detail and solve the issue if the issue ever comes up. So congratulations, great video, and I'll see you soon.